Hey YouTube, my name is Kenny. Thank you for checking out my channel. Today's video is going to be all about troubleshooting the YFZ 478. Sorry everyone, if you checked out my channel before, you know that I've had this hybrid and it was my baby and I love this machine. But lately I've been working on the LTR 474 and I finished the build with that and it runs absolutely amazing. In the meantime, I did sell this YFZ hybrid to someone else. I've had it for over a year, didn't have any problems. He ran into a couple issues, so we're going to discuss what those issues were and what happened. All right, it's got a little chilly outside, but the YFZ looks just amazing as it did before. We are going to make a couple small changes to this machine as we got it going. I did order a new tank cover and new front plastics for it. I'm going to be looking for rears, but we'll see if those are going to be coming in time before I get this reposted and back for sale. But yeah, so one of the things when the guy got the machine, he had it for, I don't know, roughly 3 weeks or something like that. He said he did minimal riding on it, which I have no reason to believe that he's lying. But he did run into a couple issues, and being the stand-up guy that I am, I didn't want to feel like I ripped the guy off or want him to feel like I ripped him off. And you know how that always goes. Immediately, if people feel that way, they're going to jump on social media or they're going to jump up on your YouTube channel and then they're going to destroy you. So I figured I'd just go out of my way to just make this one right or fix it for his sake, just because it was within a couple weeks. And besides that, like the first, within 2 days, he texted me and he had run into an issue that he couldn't get it started. So he had stated that the exhaust hanger that we had put on there had broke, and he put a new one on there, but when the exhaust hanger had broke and the muffler came off, he then after that couldn't get it started without the choke. Two different things. So the muffler hanger, he got that fixed. He said it was no big issue, but the other thing was like a dirty pilot jet. So what we're going to be doing is actually taking off the carburetor. We're going to soak the carburetor. We are going to just make sure we clean out the gas tank really good and make sure everything looks good in there. We're going to check the fuel valve, make sure it's not corroded and the screens are still up there and everything. There is a new fuel filter on there, so we'll see what's going to happen with that. That's first. Second, those things are kind of small. Second one is, he stated that sometimes it would catch when he wanted to start it up. So he'd go to start it. He said it'd become like click, 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 and nothing would happen. And, sometimes after pumping the start button 2 or 3 times, it would then fire up. So we're going to check that out too and just make sure all the starter and everything is good. He did say that he replaced the starter, and it turned out to be the issue wasn't the starter, but he did replace it thinking, hey, the starter must be going bad. So it still did the same thing with a new starter on it. He has some questions. I just did not want him to have a sour taste in his mouth about this machine, and it's absolutely amazing. So I went ahead and repurchased it back from him, and I'm going to go over those couple things in this video, and we're going to close it back up and hopefully get this thing reposted, because I have the 2 Banshees that I'm going to be working on here. But this video is not about those. All right, we got it inside. So the first thing we're going to do is actually just see how hard this is going to be for us to start. Fuel is on. Key is on. But the bulbs are out of it. Like, they're in there, but they're loose, so I assume the fronts were off as well. But, we're going to see if we can get this thing to fire. Choke pulled. All right, so we did get it started. Way too many chugs. So what we're going to do is go ahead and get the plastics off the machine so we can have it more exposed. And once we get those plastics off, we're going to work on get the carburetor out. I don't even know if I need to even take all the plastics off to get the carburetor out. Let's just see what we can do everything in there. So, 2 things on here. Thing goes in, thing goes in. Then these plastic wrists just come out there. Right here, that's a little plastic wrist on each side. Or 2 screws, put plastic on. All right, so here we are, machine's off, tank's off. First thing we're gonna do is make sure we still have spark. Obviously we should, but we always just gonna check those. We're gonna set the camera up and get those things done and see where we're gonna go. He did state he put a new plug in it, but you know, we're gonna go through everything. Hose to help you grab it. Good size hose to help you grab onto the plug, press it down on there, twist it on out. It's pretty wet, so yeah, really wet and dark, so pretty much pretty rich. But we're gonna make sure we get some spark here. All right. Keys on. We're just going to make sure we get spark. Tons of spark. All right, so I can see that this bolt is different than this one. I know I had them same, but there's a new bolt in here, so we're going to figure out what that's about. This is loose. Looks like the rubber boot may be down in there beside it. But 10 millimeters, we're going to back these off. Like one of them over there is broke, so like I said, I can't remember if that was me or him or either or, but we're gonna get that out. And down here is where I had that clamp at. Tight on there, so sure we won't have much of an issue getting the air box out. Air box out. So we're going to go ahead and check this, see what's going on with that. Get the boot back down. No, we'll see. But here's the back up to the carburetor here. We're gonna just undo this bolt here. That'll allow us to get the boot off. Boot removed. Carburetor itself. Let's see what we gotta. I think I got the. Let's go ahead and get this side off. So I went ahead and brought this out here while I have some space. But right down here is where the carburetor boots are. And they're an Allen as well. So we're going to go ahead and get both of those loosened. Give me a little bit more room to work. All right, so that's tightening it. Loosened. They're not tight or anything on there. It's just an awkward position. So, back. Yeah. Okay, here. So right up here, we have a 10 millimeter. Doesn't get, damn, gone. Jeez, 10 millimeter, and it's the hot start. And come out. Then we just got to get the throttle cable loose on the other side, and I'm just gonna take the bolts out. Carburetor's out. Pardon my mess. What we have here is a chem dip, carburetor dip. Comes with the basket. You put all your little parts in. And just yes. And back. Keep it. Washing. Sit down. There. Take out. We're going. Good. Come there. So just gonna clean up this. All right, so carburetor's over there in the dip right now, so we're good. While we're waiting on that, we're gonna go ahead and take this stator side cover off over here, see what's going on with the starter. He did say it cowed a little bit, and maybe, I don't know if you saw it in the very beginning of the video, that when I first hit the starter button, it did have a little hesitation or something. So I'm just gonna take that off, take a look at it, make sure everything looks good. I was questioning whether or not a washer should go back in behind the starter gear in order to give it a little spacer out. That might be something we do this video, but we're gonna just dig in there, see how everything looks, and then go from there. But in that same time, we're gonna go ahead and drain the oil and all the fluids. Well, just drain the oil out, because I just wanna see what the oil looks like for one, and since it went to somebody and came back, I just wanna make sure the oil and stuff is good. Oil's down here draining. We're gonna also go ahead and get off this shifter. And that's a 10mm. I might be able to clear it. I'm not sure if I'll be able to clear getting this stator side cover off, but I'm going to give it a try before I grab my impact with the 8mm and start taking bolts off. Yeah, definitely. Okay, use that. So, all right, so looks like this up here has a little leak in it. Looks like there's some moisture that had got down into that area there, but overall this doesn't look bad at all. Let me see, here's a little. Shouldn't touch anything back there. So I'm gonna go ahead and get all this off. We're going to take the flywheel off too. All right, so we're ready again. We did go ahead and get the flywheel and all that off. My camera died, so, but when you put the flywheel on, you look right back here. There's like a little nick there. I guess every now and then this thing catches. Let me see. Here. Yeah, it catches. So what I did was, I looked online, couldn't find out if there was a spacer in here or not, but there is one for a 250. So I made one with the same bore, and we're gonna slide it on. The sole purpose of this is to keep the flywheel from going back and catching anything. So, overall, I think that's gonna work out. We'll put our key back in. And we're going to take the flywheel off first. Maybe we'll see. Sometimes it's a pain in the butt to get this thing lined up with the flywheel not on it. All right. So we did put that little space back in there. As you can see now, if I take this out, it spins, no problem. All the way back, no catching or anything, so that's good to go. There is still a little play, but not as much. So if I push it all the way back and then forward, it's supposed to have a little bit of give, so that's fine. So maybe this did supposed to have a spacer in there, and that's why it was catching, but we got one back there now, so it's taking up a little bit of the tolerance. We got the gear back in, spinning fine. This is all torqued down. We're just going to go ahead and put the side cover back on and work on getting the carburetor back in. 90% sure, blowed head gasket. And this is with the spark plug pretty loose. It'll work. All right, I'm sleepy, but we've been working on the YFZ hybrid today, well, yesterday, and then I woke up this morning. Yeah, I cut a little bit off the beard, make it all about the same length, but got up this morning and went out there to mess with it, right? So we started it up and everything started, and it wasn't too hard of a start, maybe, you know, fourth or fifth uggy duggy thing, you know. So I was playing with the air fuse screw, and then I was just trying to get a little bit of glow. So if you don't know that, sometimes the header pipes glow red because first, they could be a little bit too lean. Second is because aftermarket header pipes typically are made of thinner wall steel. But I was just trying to make sure it wasn't going to be extreme. And then I stopped and I was like, hold on, let me just check the coolant. So there was no coolant in it. When I went to start it up, I put coolant in it. Went to start it. Immediately, it was harder to start. And the guy was telling me about some white smoke coming out the back. After I tried for a little bit, some white fumes came out of the back. Took the cap off to then start it to make sure I was going to get any air bubble out. And this happened. So, blown head gaskets. We have a blown head gasket in there. Second thing, I went ahead and reordered an OEM starter. Because, you know, in the whole thing of him having it, he thought starter was bad. So he swapped it out, put another starter in it. And starter wasn't the problem. However, the non-OEM items don't last. And it's already starting to go sluggish. And it's kind of burnt up already over me working with it with trying to get the jetting going. So we're going to put an OEM OEM starter back in this thing. And we're going to put a new head gasket on it as well. And then see what's going on from there. All right, so we have the YFZ 478 hybrid broke down. I did order some parts already for it, but we're going to flip the camera around and we'll let you know what's going on and what we're going to be doing, concluding this video up, just to let you know. So here my baby is looking all crazy and torn apart. Got all the clothes off of it, but it looks good and everything. So what we're going to do is a few things. As you see right here, the piston and rings and all that stuff is all good. Piston looks real good. I just wiped it off. The head gasket, I think it had a leak, but as you see right here, small leak or whatnot. So right here, so I tore up. So we went ahead and replaced. Going to be ordering a new head gasket. It's going to be all fast forwarded for you all. But also, he replaced the starter with one, and he had stated that it was maybe, you know, one online for 50 bucks or so, 60 bucks. So I did order an OEM replacement. The starter already was getting sluggish on me, and those cheaper ones usually just don't last, and it's okay. It's no big deal. So we ordered a replacement that's going to go in there. So soon we're going to be getting a new starter in. We're going to be getting a new gasket put on top end back on. Also, back here, as you see this black, my hanger was right here in this bolt going down. What I'm going to do actually is just put a steel hanger that's going to attach to 2 points right here. And the exhaust hanger is going to be right there. Then I'm going to get all that stripped down, smoothed out, round off those sharp edges, and then we're going to powder coat that as well as green. So the hanger is going to be good. We're going to have everything back together. We're going to put some more antifreeze in it, but just want to let you all know what's going on. So I'm just letting you all know the status of this. So just understand this video is not, and I want to repeat, it is not intended to be a crazy breakdown video. I've already done the full build on this machine here. However, what we're doing is just fixing a few things that are going wrong with it. And, you know, the details, putting the top end on and all that stuff. You've seen it done before in prior videos, so there's no need to go over all that now. So let's get all this stuff put on. All right, everyone, so we got a little mail run today. We have the hybrid head gasket kit, top end kit, and we're just going to go ahead and get the head gasket placed on here and changed, get this motor closed back up, see if we can get it to fire, make sure there's no compression coming up out of the radiator, and go from there, you know. So, but basically, the biggest thing I want to talk about is when you put these head gasket kits on for the WR450 and the YZ, what you do is basically 22 foot-pounds, and then you go back down, take it all off, go back down to 14 foot-pounds. And then once you're at 14 foot-pounds, you go kind of like in a, I don't know, X pattern, and you go 90, 90, and then you're done, right? So 90 on each bolt, and then you do 90 degrees again on each bolt, and then you're good to go. So that wasn't too horrible. So we put the header bolts on. So basically we drove them all in and just snugged them up with the impact. Next we went around 20 in an X pattern, loosened them. Then we went 14 in an X pattern, 90 degrees in an X pattern, and then another 90 degrees in an X pattern. So we're done with that end. So next thing we're going to do is just basically get the timing lined up, get the cams back on, get the timing chain all tight, put the valve caps back on, and then motor's going to be closed back up. All right, so you saw I got that head on there, got the new gasket put on, so we're good to go. We're gonna flip the camera, just show a quick look around at what we got going, and then we'll get the carburetor and stuff on. I'm just waiting on the starter to be coming in the mail. So head and everything is back onto the machine. We have the timing on. We did put a new breather hose here. There's just no pressure in there, but it's a breather line, so put a new breather hose in there. I went ahead and clean that cover right there up. This is the new mount, the new bracket. I decided to go this route because there's 2 points underneath here that hold the bracket on, that hold the exhaust hanger. So with those 2 points right there, if one of them happens to come loose, what they won't, because this is some serious, more, thick gauge steel here. So that issue is taken care of. It's on there loosely, kind of, it's no big deal because I'm not sure how challenging it's going to be when I get the starter back down in there. So we're just waiting on the starter. Once we get the starter, we should be good to go ahead and start this thing up. We already tried it with the carburetor. Carburetor and everything's fine. And we just found out we had the leak. Now the leak is taken care of. All right, everyone. So here we go with the hybrid. We have the new replacement starter on there. Well, it's OEM, but it's used, so it's a new one. It's better than the other ones that come on. And I just wanted to show that turning over, no compression anymore inside of the coolant system. So head gasket repair is good. We can hear that it has compression. I already know it has compression. Now we're just going to get back of the motor and back everything put back on and see if we can get this thing fired up. All right, everyone, so here we are with the hybrid sitting right here behind us. We did tackle a few things that the guy had told us that he has some concerns with. And as I've always stated, I do everything on camera just to make sure that, you know, there's this level of accountability everywhere and people see exactly what I'm doing to my machine. So what we're going to do right here is just go around the machine, show the few things that we addressed that he was concerned about, so that when the future comes, you don't have to worry about people getting online and be like, yeah, this is junk, this is not junk, you know, just try to save your rep, right? So this machine is absolutely great. I love this machine. So I'm probably going to either keep this one or the LTR. Both of them are going to be for sale here shortly as I'm building the Banshee. So I have two Banshees. My 92, I'm going to bring it back to stock, probably sell it. The other one, I'm going to build up a bit and do some different things to it. I'm going to either keep the 4-stroke hybrid or the 4-stroke LTR. Whichever one of those two don't sell is the one that I'm going to keep. So let's go around this machine real quick, address those things that he was concerned about, and then we'll be getting everyone on their way. All right, so here we are with the hybrid as we've had it before. Plastics are what you see. There wasn't anything that was addressed with the prior guy, but these plastics were white and they were kind of beat up and scratched up. Before I had any information about how to really clean them up, what I did was just kind of scuff them up a bit, primer them, and then paint them white. They look great. They look good and great, but you know, I always wanted to go ahead and put the white new ones on here. Since I have the machine back, I try to treat every machine like it's my own. So we put the new front plastics here. Gas tank should be here tomorrow. So new front plastics on the whole front. The rears are not in production anymore, so we're going to have to leave those the way they are. One of the things I did see before was the wires here were showing a little bit. I had no problem, but when I took this side off, there was a little bit, like you see, water that came through there, and because the oil was a little bit milky. So I went ahead and put silicone on there, take those up, put a zip tie to keep it nice and secure. So we're good there. I did find a case saver, something that we did not address on any issues, but I always wanted to get a case saver for this machine, and we all know why. I did go down here. I got to clean that up, but I did expose an area so I could see my VIN. Powdered over the VIN. I was not clear that I wanted that to be able to be seen, so that was powder coated over. So, things that he talked about. Said that he was concerned about the oil hose that was here. The breather hose that I had was tied together, but as we saw, I did replace the breather hose in here. He was concerned about the exhaust hanger. I made another one with 2 points of mounting location, one for here and one for here, powder coated it. So now the exhaust has 2 points, so it will not break. That is some nice thick gauge steel. So that's that. He complained, now not blaming or anything, but after a little bit, he started having white smoke come out the back. Now that's found out later on, blowed head gasket. So we showed that in the video. In the video, I had the machine running. I had a red header pipe. I was kind of adjusting it a little bit, trying to figure it out. Then I was like, well, make sure there's good coolant in it. So when I went to the coolant side of it, the radiator was cold. Filled it up with water just to be able to do it, try to turn it over. Immediately it was harder to start and white smoke started coming out the back. So then I was like, okay, this is the white smoke he's talking about. So I had blown head gasket. Put a new head gasket on it and everything. The valves and everything still look great. Piston and rings, everything still look great. Just replaced the head gasket, put a new one on there. And as you saw me torque it down to spec. So head gasket's been replaced. Now we do not have the fluid jumping up like it was when you turn the motor over, because there's no compression getting into the cooling system. So starter, he had put another starter on it because we were concerned. He was concerned that the starter was catching. Put another starter on it, which was like 50 bucks or something like that. So more than likely I was assuming that it wasn't an OEM one. So I found an OEM used replacement to put on there. And there was the gear, starter gear was catching. So we did put a spacer back behind the starter gear there to keep it from catching on top of those little nuts that was back there. So that problem is resolved. Overall, there was just a couple of minor things. The big thing happened to be the blowed head gasket. And when he was talking to me about it, we did agree that, you know, I'll just buy it back from him. I didn't want him to feel like I ripped him off or anything. So we're going to go ahead and set the camera up and get this thing started. All right, as always, everything wants to act up. Everything wants to act up when you have the camera on. So see if we can get it started up. Nice and easy.